This is Earl Nightingale, speaking to you from a quiet studio, where the truths of life echo like the solemn toll of a lighthouse bell, cutting through the fog of a storm-tossed sea, guiding the lost, the seeking, the dreamers to the shores of their destiny. Before we embark on this journey, a journey that may kindle the slumbering fire within you, that may shatter the chains of routine, that may forever alter the path of your life, I extend a heartfelt invitation to join our sacred fellowship of visionaries. These are the souls who hunger for wisdom, who burn with the fire of purpose, who dare to rise above the gray silence of conformity and claim the power they were born to wield. If this message stirs your heart, if it awakens the creator within you, I urge you to share it with others by subscribing to this program. Write to us, share your thoughts in our great conversation, and let us know you stand with us by leaving your mark of approval. Your voice strengthens this circle, and together, we can forge a brotherhood of dreamers, a legion of those who refuse to drift through life asleep. Now, settle in, for we speak a message so potent, so revolutionary, it was deemed too dangerous to be heard. They called it forbidden. They sought to silence it. They banned it from the airwaves, fearing its power to awaken the sleeping, to unshackle the bound, to light a fire no force could extinguish. This is the speech they feared, the truth they could not contain, the voice that still resounds through the ages, calling you to rise, to think, to live. Will you hear it? Will you heed it? Will you become it? The choice is yours, and the moment is now. Let us begin. There are words, my friends, so powerful they shake the foundations of empires, so piercing they cut through the fog of centuries, so radiant they burn like a star in the dim corridors of a world lulled by routine. This speech, this message, carried such a force that those who guard the gates of conformity sought to ban it, to silence it, to bury it beneath the weight of habit and obedience. They feared its voice, not because it called for chaos or rebellion, but because it called for something far more dangerous, awakening. It was a voice that challenged the silent herds moving through life with eyes half closed, hearts tethered to the rhythm of the clock tower, souls dimmed by the gray silence of conformity. It was a voice that dared to speak of power, not the power of gold or steel, but the power of the mind, the heart, the soul that burns with purpose, the spirit that dares to dream beyond the plow, the anvil, the ledger, the hearth. Picture a quiet village, its cobblestone streets winding beneath a sky heavy with dusk, its days measured by the toll of a clock tower, its people lulled by the hum of familiar tasks. Into this village comes a traveler, a man with a fire in his eyes and a truth on his lips, who speaks words that stir the air like a wind gathering before a storm. He speaks of potential, of freedom, of a life painted in colors bold and true, of a destiny shaped by thought, of a fire that burns within every soul. The villagers listen, their hearts quickening, their dreams stirring, their eyes lifting from the ground to the stars. But the elders, the keepers of order, grow uneasy. These words, they declare, are too bold, too bright, too dangerous. They threaten the rhythm of the village, the predictability of the harvest, the stability of the marketplace, the silence of the hearth. They must be silenced, lest the people awaken, lest the herds scatter, lest the world they know crumble under the weight of a truth too powerful to contain. And so, they ban the traveler's speech, they drive him from the village, they warn the people to forget his words, to return to their plows, their forges, their looms, their ledgers, to let the clock tower dictate their days, to let the fog of routine settle over their hearts. But truth, my friends, is not so easily silenced. It is like a fire that, once kindled, cannot be extinguished, like a river that, once loosed, cannot be dammed, like a star that, once risen, cannot be hidden. like a wind that, once stirred, cannot be stilled, like a seed that, once planted, cannot be uprooted. The traveler's words spread, whispered in the glow of candlelit taverns, shared in the quiet of moonlit fields, carried on the tides that sweep across oceans, etched into the hearts of those who dare to listen. They reached the blacksmith, his forge alive with the rhythm of his hammer, his heart stirred by the possibility of crafting not just tools, but a legacy, gates that will stand through centuries, swords that will gleam like moonlight, creations that will carry his name through time. They reached the farmer, his hands deep in the earth, his soul awakened to the vision of fields that feed not just bodies, but dreams, a garden of abundance that blooms with the colors of his purpose. They reached the poet, her pen poised above a blank page, her mind ignited by the call to write verses that will echo through the ages, words that will lift the human spirit like a zephyr carrying a song. They reached the merchant, his shop a hub of trade, his heart stirred by the dream of markets beyond the sea, of a legacy that weaves harmony through the tapestry of commerce. They reached the teacher, her classroom a sanctuary of young minds, her soul awakened to the vision of inspiring a generation, of planting seeds that will bloom for centuries. They reached the housewife, her hearth a haven of warmth, her heart stirred by the realization that she holds the power to create, to lead, to shape a life of purpose. These words, deemed too powerful, too dangerous, became thunder, shaking the souls of those who heard them, a light that pierced the fog of routine, a key that unlocked the chains of mediocrity, a wind that carried dreams to the stars. Why were they banned, you ask? Not because they were false, but because they were true, true in a way that threatened the gray silence of conformity, true in a way that awakened the slumbering power within every man and woman, true in a way that no force could suppress. I shared a version of this truth years ago in a message called The Strangest Secret when I said, we become what we think about most of the time, and that's the strangest secret. These words, so simple yet so profound, were the spark that ignited lives, that lifted men and women from the shadows of routine to the heights of purpose, that transformed hearts bound by fear into hearts ablaze with possibility. They could not silence it then, and they cannot silence it now, for it lives in the minds of those who think, in the hearts of those who dream, in the souls of those who dare to live. Picture the sailor, his ship tethered to the harbor, his heart yearning for uncharted seas, his eyes fixed on the horizon where adventure calls. He hears these words from a weathered deckhand, and they stir him, like a wind filling the sails, like a tide pulling at the shore, until he sets forth, discovering lands that will bear his name, charting paths that will guide generations. Picture the M, his soul restless with the call of the unknown, his heart burning with stories yet untold. He hears these words by campfire, and they awaken him, like a star breaking through the clouds, until he wanders, collecting tales that will enrich the world, forging paths that others will follow. Picture his hands skilled in the art of creation, his mind once confined to the tasks at hand. He hears these words from a mentor, and they resonate, like a hammer striking an anvil, until he crafts not just objects, but masterpieces, works that stand as monuments to his fire. These words, this forbidden speech, have awakened countless souls, and they can awaken you if you will hear them, if you will speak them, if you will live them. And so, I ask you, listener, do you hear that voice in the quiet of your heart? Do you feel its gentle nudge, its persistent call, its promise of power beyond the ordinary? Will you let it pass like a breeze through the trees, or will you let it become thunder, shaking the foundations of your life, lighting a fire that no band can extinguish? What is the most dangerous force in the world, my friends? Not the fire that consumes forests, nor the steel that carves empires, nor the storms that sink ships, nor the tides that reshape shores. The most dangerous force is the mind of a man or woman who dares to think for themselves, who dares to imagine a life beyond the boundaries of mediocrity, who dares to wield the liberty of independent thought, who dares to light a candle in the darkness of conformity. This is the power no king can tax, no army can conquer, no institution can chain, no fog can obscure, no band can silence. This is the power that frightened those who sought to suppress this speech, for it is a power that reshapes destinies, that builds worlds, that kindles fires, that weaves tapestries of greatness across the canvas of time. Picture a sailor standing on the deck of his ship, the sea stretching endlessly before him, his heart alive with dreams of uncharted lands, his eyes tracing the stars that guide his way. The world tells him to stay close to shore, to fish the familiar waters, to avoid the storms of the unknown, to tether his ship to the harbor's safety. But he thinks for himself. He imagines a horizon beyond the dock. He dares to set sail, and in doing so, he discovers shores that will bear his name, paths that will guide generations, riches that no gold can measure, a legacy that shines like a zephyr, carrying light across the sea. Picture a teacher, her classroom a quiet sanctuary, her days spent guiding young minds, her heart burning with the vision of awakening a generation, her soul a garden where wisdom blooms. The schoolhouse demands she teach only what is written, only what is safe, only what keeps the children in line, only what keeps the fog intact. But she thinks for herself. She imagines a world where her students dream boldly, where their minds are stars in a boundless sky, and she plants seeds of wisdom that will bloom for centuries, a legacy no ledger can contain, a fire no band can extinguish. Picture a cobbler, his hands worn from years of stitching leather, his life once confined to the narrow walls of his shop, his heart once tethered to the rhythm of routine. The village expects him to mend shoes, to stay small, to keep his place, to let his fire smolder. But he thinks for himself. He imagines creations that are works of art, boots that walk the roads of kings, sandals that carry the feet of pilgrims, shoes that grace the halls of history. And he crafts a legacy that shines like a star, a testament to the power of his mind, a canvas painted with the colors of his dreams. This liberty of thought, my friends, is the spark that kindles greatness, the compass that guides the lost, the hammer that shapes the future, the seed that grows into abundance, the wind that carries dreams to the stars, the candle that lights the darkness. It is the power to see beyond the fog of routine, to dream beyond the walls of conformity, to create beyond the chains of fear, to weave a tapestry of purpose that endures through time. Yet it is a power the world fears, for a man or woman who thinks independently is a force unstoppable, a flame unquenchable, a tide uncontainable, a star undeniable, a wind unyielding, a candle unextinguished. They cannot be herded, they cannot be silenced, they cannot be bound, they cannot be dimmed. As I said in Lead the Field, the only thing that stands between a man and what he wants from life is often merely the will to try it and the faith to believe that it is possible. This is why this speech was banned, not because it spoke of rebellion, but because it spoke of freedom, the freedom to think, to dream, to act, to create, to become. It spoke of a power that lies within you, waiting to be unleashed, waiting to reshape your life, waiting to light a fire no force can extinguish, waiting to weave a tapestry no hand can unravel. Consider the poet, her verses once silenced by the demands of duty, her heart heavy with beauty unvoiced, her soul aching for expression. She dares to think for herself, to imagine words that will lift the human spirit, to weave a tapestry of light, and her lines become a beacon, a fire that burns through time, a legacy that no band can erase, a zephyr that carries hope across the ages. Consider the farmer, his fields once a burden, his days once a cycle of toil, his heart once heavy with want. He dares to think for himself, to imagine a harvest that feeds not just his village, but his soul, to plant a garden of dreams, and his fields become a testament to the power of his mind, a canvas painted with abundance, a fire that no fog can dim. Consider the housewife, her days once confined to the hearth, her dreams once buried beneath the weight of routine, her heart once silent with unspoken longing. She dares to think for herself, to imagine a life of creation, of leadership, of purpose, to light a candle in the darkness. And her home becomes a sanctuary, her life a beacon, her influence a flame that lifts those around her, a tapestry woven with the threads of her courage. This is the dangerous power of independent thought, my friends, and it is yours to claim, if you will hear this forbidden speech, if you will speak its truth, if you will live its fire, if you will weave its tapestry. And so, I ask you, listener, do you feel that spark within you? Do you sense the compass of your mind, pointing to a life beyond the ordinary, the candle waiting to be lit? Will you dare to think for yourself, or will you remain in the fog, bound by the chains of conformity, your fire unlit, your tapestry unwoven? Within every heart, my friends, burns a fire, a seed of greatness planted at birth, a spark of divinity that no force can extinguish, no band can erase, no fog can obscure, no chain can bind, no storm can quench. This fire is the power to create, to dream, to rise, to become more than the world expects, more than the routine allows, more than the herd imagines, more than the clock tower permits. This speech, this forbidden message, did not create that fire. It merely reminded men and women that it was there, waiting to be kindled, waiting to blaze, waiting to light the world, waiting to weave a tapestry of eternal purpose. Picture the blacksmith, his forge a sanctuary of heat and iron, his hands skilled, but his dreams dormant, his life once confined to the tasks before him, his heart once tethered to the rhythm of necessity. One day, a traveler speaks words that stir him, words that echo like the toll of a bell across a quiet valley, words that resonate like a hammer striking an anvil, words that remind him of the fire within. He begins to think, not of horseshoes or nails, but of masterpieces, gates that will stand through centuries, swords that will gleam like starlight, creations that will carry his name through time, a tapestry woven with the threads of his vision. He kindles that fire, and his forge becomes a beacon, his work a testament to the power within every soul, his life a canvas painted with the colors of greatness. Picture the farmer, his fields stretching beneath a wide sky, his heart once heavy with the weight of endless toil, his soul once dimmed by the fog of routine. A neighbor shares a truth, a whisper that resonates like a tide against the shore, like a zephyr through a quiet grove, reminding him of the fire within. He begins to think, not of survival, but of abundance, of fields that feed not just bodies, but dreams, of a garden that blooms with the colors of his purpose. He kindles that fire, and his harvest becomes a sanctuary, his life a legacy of creation, his fields a tapestry of hope. Picture the poet, her chamber quiet, her pen idle, her heart aching with beauty unvoiced, her soul yearning for expression. A wandering philosopher speaks words that awaken her, words that burn like a candle in the dark, like a star breaking through the clouds, reminding her of the fire within. She begins to think, not of duty, but of eternity, of verses that will lift the human spirit, of a tapestry woven with the light of her soul, and her lines become a flame, a beacon that burns through time, a legacy that no band can silence. This fire, my friends, lives in every soul, from the humblest laborer to the grandest dreamer, from the quiet hearth to the bustling marketplace, from the dusty road to the boundless sea. It is the teacher, her classroom a garden of young minds, who hears this truth and kindles her fire, inspiring a generation to think, to dream, to rise, to weave a tapestry of wisdom that endures through the ages. It is the cobbler, his shop a haven of leather and thread, who hears this truth and kindles his fire, crafting works of art that walk the roads of history, boots that carry the feet of kings, a tapestry woven with the threads of his skill. It is the housewife, her days once confined to the hearth, who hears this truth and kindles her fire, discovering she holds the power to create, to lead, to inspire, to light a candle that transforms her home into a sanctuary of purpose. It is the M, his heart restless with the call of distant lands, who hears this truth and kindles his fire, wandering to collect stories that enrich the world, forging paths that others will follow, weaving a tapestry of understanding. It is his hands skilled in the art of creation, who hears this truth and kindles his fire, crafting not just objects, but masterpieces, works that stand as monuments to his soul, a tapestry woven with the light of his craft. It is the mother, her days spent nurturing her family, who hears this truth and kindles her fire, realizing her love is a force that shapes not just her children, but the world, a tapestry woven with the threads of her devotion. This speech was banned because it reminded people of this fire, because it called them to awaken, to think, to act, to create, to become. As I said in The Strangest Secret, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The fire within you is the spark of that ideal, the seed of that success, the flame of that destiny, the thread of that tapestry. It is not reserved for the mighty, nor hidden from the humble. It burns in the sailor who dreams of uncharted seas, in the merchant who envisions new horizons, in the teacher who inspires new minds, in the poet who weaves new beauty, in the farmer who cultivates new abundance, in the blacksmith who forges new legacies, in the am who collects new stories, in the mother who shapes new futures. This forbidden speech simply held a mirror to that fire, reminding you it was there, urging you to kindle it, to let it blaze, to let it light your path to greatness, to let it weave a tapestry that endures through time. And so, I ask you, listener, do you feel that fire within you? Do you sense its quiet warmth, its persistent glow, its promise of power, its thread waiting to be woven? If this message has stirred your soul, if it has awakened the dreamer within you, join our fellowship. Write to us, share your thoughts, and let us know you're with us by leaving your mark of approval. Let us stand together as those who know the truth, as those who kindle the fire, as those who live the power, as those who weave the tapestry. Will you let this fire lie dormant, or will you let it blaze, lighting a path through the fog of routine, weaving a tapestry that shines like the stars? Why then was this speech banned, my friends? Why does the world fear the man or woman who awakens, who thinks, who kindles the fire within, who weaves the tapestry of their destiny? The answer lies in the great machinery of the world, the systems that govern our days like the relentless ticking of a clock tower, its hands moving with unyielding precision, its chime lulling the mind to sleep, its shadow smothering the spark of greatness, its fog obscuring the light of the stars. Picture a vast fog rolling across a valley where men and women wander with open eyes but sleeping souls, their steps guided not by vision, but by the paths worn by those before them, their hearts tethered to the rhythm of conformity, their fires unlit, their tapestries unwoven. This is the herd of humanity, my friends, conditioned to obey, to follow, to drift, to file their dreams away like old parchment in a forgotten archive, to let their candles flicker out in the gray silence of routine. The schoolhouse, with its dusty chalkboards and rigid rows, teaches you to memorize facts, to repeat the answers of others, to conform, not to question, not to dream, not to think for yourself, not to kindle the fire of your mind, not to weave the tapestry of your soul. The factory, with its droning machines and silent assembly lines, demands your hands, not your heart, rewarding those who labor without pause, punishing those who dare to innovate, chaining your spirit to the hum of routine, locking your soul in a prison of gray silence, dimming the light of your star. The marketplace, with its bustling stalls and predictable trades, praises those who sell what is familiar, not those who create what is new, offering coins for compliance and scorn for ambition, building walls where bridges should stand, obscuring the canvas of your dreams. The village, with its quiet hearths and familiar rhythms, expects you to serve, to sacrifice, to stay silent, to let your fire smolder, to let your tapestry remain a blank canvas. These systems are like a great fog, keeping you safe from risk, but also from greatness, keeping you asleep while the clock ticks, while the fire within you fades, while the world remains unchanged, while the stars remain unseen. Consider the farmer, taught from childhood to plant the same crops, to follow the same seasons, to avoid the risks of change, to keep his fire unlit, to let his fields remain a canvas unpainted. The village depends on his harvest, and so he is told to stay predictable, to keep his dreams small, to let his visions fade like mist at dawn, to let his tapestry lie unwoven. He plows the same furrows, reaps the same yields, and drifts through his days, his heart heavy with unspoken longing, his mind dulled by the clock tower's chime, his soul a fire unkind led, his life a garden unplanted. Consider the blacksmith, urged to craft only what is needed, nails, tools, horseshoes, never daring to forge the works of art that burn in his soul, never striking the anvil with the fire of his dreams, never weaving a tapestry of mastery. The village needs his labor, and so he is kept in place, his hammer striking in time with the factory's drone, his creations cooling like the iron he shapes, his spirit confined to the gray silence of duty, his fire extinguished, his canvas blank. Consider the merchant, trained to trade only what sells, to smile at customers, to keep his ambitions modest, to walk the paths of others rather than forge his own, to let his fire smolder. The marketplace rewards his conformity, but it punishes his vision, and so he drifts through his transactions, his ledger a map of a life unlived, his heart a sea uncharted, his dreams buried beneath piles of coins, his tapestry unwoven. Consider the housewife, her days spent tending the hearth, her dreams buried beneath the weight of routine, her heart silent with unspoken longing, her fire unlit. The village expects her to serve, to sacrifice, to stay silent, and so she is bound, her visions fading like stars at dawn, her soul a candle unlit, her life a canvas untouched. Consider the M, taught to stay close, to choose the familiar over the unknown, to walk the paths of others rather than blaze his own, to let his fire dim. The world needs his stability, and so he is tethered, his journeys untaken, his stories untold, his heart a map uncharted, his tapestry unspun. Consider the mother, her days spent nurturing her family, her dreams silenced by the demands of duty, her fire smoldering beneath the weight of expectation. The village needs her care, and so she is confined, her visions fading like a zephyr lost in the fog, her soul a garden unplanted, her tapestry unwoven. These systems fear the awake man, my friends, for he is a force they cannot control, a fire they cannot extinguish, a tide they cannot turn, a star they cannot dim, a wind they cannot still, a tapestry they cannot unravel. An awake woman lights a fire that spreads, awakens others, reshapes the world, weaves a tapestry that endures. This is why this speech was banned, for it called the sleeping to rise, the bound to break free, the silent to speak, the dreamers to weave. As I said in Lead the Field, most people tiptoe through life, hoping to make it safely to death. The world would have you believe that drifting is safety, but it is a prison, a fog where your fire goes to die, a chain that binds your soul, a canvas that remains blank, a tapestry that remains unwoven. These systems benefit from your sleep, my friends. A farmer who thinks too boldly might disrupt the village's supply, might plant a garden that changes the world. A blacksmith who creates art might neglect the tools the village needs, might forge a legacy that outshines the fog. A merchant who dreams too big might unsettle the marketplace's balance, might weave a tapestry that spans continents. A housewife who awakens might inspire others to rise, might light a candle that transforms her community. AM who wanders too far might collect stories that awaken the herd, might forge a path that leads to freedom. A mother who dreams too boldly might shape a generation that changes history, might weave a tapestry that shines like the stars. The awake man or woman questions the schoolhouse, challenges the factory, disrupts the marketplace, rewrites the village's rules, kindles a fire that no band can extinguish, weaves a tapestry that no hand can unravel. This is why the world fears them, why the speech was deemed too powerful, why its voice was silenced. And so, I ask you, listener, will you remain in the fog, or will you awaken? Will you let the clock tower dictate your days, or will you kindle the fire within, weave the tapestry of your destiny? If this message has stirred your heart, if it has awakened a rebel, the creator, the dreamer within you, join our fellowship. Write to us, share your thoughts, and let us know you're with us by leaving your mark of approval. Let us stand together as those who refuse to drift, as those who kindle the fire, as those who live the power, as those who weave the tapestry. Will you live in the gray silence, or will you let your thoughts become thunder, your dreams become bridges, your fire become a beacon, your life become a tapestry that shines like the stars? And now, my friends, we come to the heart of this forbidden speech, the message they try to silence, the truth they could not kill, the fire they could not extinguish, the tapestry they could not unravel. It is this: you are the architect of your life, and your mind is your most dangerous weapon, for it can build freedom or prison, peace or regret, greatness or mediocrity, a tapestry of light or a canvas of shadows. Your thoughts are the blueprint, the compass, the hammer, the seed, the fire, the thread that shapes your destiny, the zephyr that carries your dreams to the stars. As I said in The Strangest Secret, we become what we think about most of the time. Speak these words, my friends. Let them echo in your heart. Let them guide your hand. Let them light your path. Let them weave your tapestry. They are not a secret to be hidden, nor a riddle to be solved, but a truth to be lived, a principle to be embraced, a fire to be kindled, a thread to be woven. Plant these words in the fertile soil of your mind. Water them with faith. Nurture them with action. Light them with courage. Weave them with purpose. And watch as your life transforms into a masterpiece, a fortress, a garden, a beacon, a sanctuary, a bridge, a tapestry that no band can erase, no fog can dim, no storm can unravel. Picture the cobbler, his shop small, his hands worn from years of labor, his heart once heavy with routine, his life once a canvas unpainted. He hears this truth, perhaps from a radio broadcast like this one, and it stirs him, like a wind lifting a sail, like a tide turning, like a star breaking through the clouds. He begins to think, not of mending shoes, but of creating works of art, boots that walk the roads of history, sandals that carry the feet of pilgrims, shoes that grace the halls of kings, a tapestry woven with the threads of his skill. Each stitch he makes, each design he crafts, builds a life of purpose, a legacy that shines like a beacon, a testament to the power of his thoughts, a canvas painted with the colors of his dreams. Picture the merchant, his days once a cycle of routine trade, his heart once tethered to the ledger, his life once a sea uncharted. He hears this truth from a fellow trader, and it awakens him, like a flame kindled in the dark, like a zephyr carrying light. He begins to think, not of profit, but of possibility, of markets beyond the sea, of connections that bring peace to his soul, of a tapestry woven with harmony. He builds a trade that spans continents, a life that finds balance, a legacy that brings not just wealth, but meaning, his thoughts a lighthouse guiding him to a shore of purpose. Picture the housewife, her days once confined to the hearth, her dreams once silenced by duty, her heart once heavy with unspoken longing, her life once a canvas untouched. She hears this truth from a kind neighbor, and it resonates, like the toll of a bell, like a candle lit in the night. She begins to think, not of her tasks, but of her power, to create, to lead, to inspire, to weave a tapestry of light. She studies, she acts, she rises, and her home becomes a sanctuary, her life a beacon, her influence a flame that lifts her family and beyond, a proof that she held the key all along. These stories, my friends, are not fables. They're the lives of those who heard this message, who spoke its truth, who lived its fire, who wove its tapestry. They are the farmer who thought of abundance and turned his fields into a garden of dreams, a canvas painted with hope. They are the blacksmith who thought of mastery and forged works that stood through time, a tapestry woven with skill. They are the sailor who thought of discovery and charted seas unknown, a bridge to adventure. They are the poet who thought of beauty and wove verses that lifted the soul, a flame that burned through the ages. They are the teacher who thought of wisdom and shaped minds that changed the world, a tapestry of knowledge. They are the who thought of stories and wandered to collect them, a path that led to understanding. They are the who thought of masterpieces and crafted them with care, a monument to his soul. They are the mother who thought of purpose and shaped a generation, a tapestry woven with love. This message was banned because it awakened such lives, because it kindled such fires, because it built such bridges, because it wove such tapestries. Speak these words daily, my friends, and let them shape your thoughts, for your thoughts shape your life. Your thoughts kindle your fire. Your thoughts build your bridges. Your thoughts weave your tapestry. Think of what you want, not of what you fear. Dream of what you will become, not of what you lack. Picture your success as vividly as a painter sees his canvas, as clearly as a sailor sees the stars, as boldly as a blacksmith strikes the anvil, as brightly as a fire burns in the night, as enduringly as a garden blooms through the seasons, as firmly as a bridge spans the river, as timelessly as a book holds its truths, as powerfully as a zephyr carries light across the sea. And let that vision guide your every action. Begin now with one step, however small. The farmer does not plant his field in a day. He sows one seed, then another. The merchant does not build an empire in a moment. He makes one trade, then another. The poet does not write an epic in a breath. She crafts one line, then another. The teacher does not inspire a generation in an instant. She teaches one lesson, then another. The does not explore the world in a day. He takes one step, then another. The mother does not shape a generation in a moment. She loves one day, then another. Your thoughts are the seeds, your actions the water, your faith the sunlight, your courage the fire, your vision the thread, your purpose the tapestry. Speak the words, live the truth, kindle the fire, build the bridges, weave the tapestry, and the greatness will follow. And so, I ask you, listener, will you speak this message they try to ban? Will you let it awaken you? Or will you let it pass like a whisper in the fog? If this truth has stirred your soul, join our fellowship. Write to us, share your thoughts, and let us know you're with us by leaving your mark of approval. Let us stand together, as those who refuse to be silenced, as those who kindle the fire, as those who live the power, as those who weave the tapestry. And now, my friend, we reach the final moments of this forbidden speech, this message they tried to silence, this truth they could not kill, this fire they could not extinguish, this tapestry they could not unravel, this zephyr they could not still. I speak to you now, you who listen in the quiet of your heart, you who sit alone in a darkened room, late at night, a solitary soul at the crossroads of your life, poised between the fog of routine and the light of destiny, between the chains of conformity and the bridges to greatness, between the gray silence and the thunder of purpose, between the shadows and the fire of your soul, between the blank canvas and the tapestry of your dreams. You are not a shadow, not a cog, not a leaf adrift on the river of time, not a soul condemned to wander in the fog of mediocrity, not a life destined to remain unwoven. You are a creator, a dreamer, a force with the power to shape your world, to paint your life in colors bold and true, to forge a legacy that will echo through the ages, to kindle a fire that will light the heavens, to build bridges that will span the rivers of doubt, to weave a tapestry that will stand through time, to let a zephyr carry your light to the stars. The message they try to ban is yours to speak, yours to live, yours to make thunder, yours to make a flame that no force can extinguish, yours to make a tapestry that no hand can unravel. Do not let it pass you by, my friend. Do not let it fade like a whisper in the wind, like a spark in the night, like a tide that turns back, like a seed that lies unsown, like a bridge that lies unbuilt, like a fire that lies unlit, like a book that lies unread, like a tapestry that lies unwoven, like a zephyr that dies in the fog. Speak it now, with courage, with faith, with the fire of your soul, with the light of your star, with the power of your tide, with the strength of your bridge, with the glow of your flame, with the truth of your book, with the purpose of your tapestry, with the freedom of your zephyr. Plant the seed, strike the anvil, set sail, write the verse, teach the lesson, trade with purpose, wander with vision, love with devotion, build the bridge, kindle the fire, weave the tapestry, let the zephyr carry your light, and let the world marvel at what you become. Your life is a canvas, a ship, a forge, a garden, a sanctuary, a bridge, a fire, a book, a tapestry, a zephyr, and you hold the brush, the helm, the hammer, the seed, the light, the strength, the flame, the pen, the thread, the wind. Paint boldly, sail bravely, forge fiercely, grow eternally, shine brightly, span fearlessly, burn steadfastly, write timelessly, weave purposefully, soar freely, and create a life that will stand as a beacon, a flame, a star, a tide, a sanctuary, a bridge, a fire, a book, a tapestry, a zephyr for all who follow. This is Earl Nightingale, bidding you not farewell, but a new dawn, a new beginning, a new life. If this message has stirred your soul, if it has awakened the creator, the dreamer, the pioneer within you, join our fellowship. Write to us, share your thoughts, and let us know you're with us by leaving your mark of approval. Together, let us speak the words they try to ban. Let us live the power they feared. Let us kindle the fire they could not extinguish. Let us build the bridges they could not destroy. Let us weave the tapestries they could not unravel. Let us let the zephyr carry our light to the stars. The choice is yours, my friend, and the moment is now. Speak the truth, kindle the fire, build the bridge, weave the tapestry, let the zephyr soar, and let your life become a thunder that shakes the heavens, a power that endures forever, a flame that never fades, a tapestry whose threads are eternity, a zephyr that carries your light to the stars.